What's up, guys?
Looking forward to that.
Yes, we are. Welcome to Side B, the continuation of today's episode of Awesome Hardware, the show that Paul and I do every single Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, right here on twitch.tv/awesomehardware, or our respective YouTube channels. This show is split into two halves, and we put that on either of our YouTube channels as well. So Paul's Hardware, if you're on YouTube, or Awesome Sauce Network, which is what you're watching right now, if you're on the YouTubes. So, yeah, thanks for sticking with us, or for just joining.
If you missed my half of the show...
If you missed Paul's half, you can go watch it right now.
There was much debauchery, some drinking, and we also discussed the AMD RX 460 and 470.
470, yeah.
That was fun.
We'll be going into some more benchmarks of those cards. Alleged benchmarks. Later in this half.
The 480, right?
Of the 480 and the 470.
And the 470?
They did, yeah.
Those sons of bitches.
Yeah. They're snaky.
They just
sneaky bastards.
No respect for NDAs.
No respect at all. And it's all for our benefit.
I like how in the articles they're like, it was really hard to get around this NDA.
It's like,
I don't know.
I don't think it's very hard to get around an NDA. You just gotta break it. You're gonna be okay with burning whatever bridges are attached to that NDA. Well, and it's really, really easy to break an NDA.
Yes, it is.
So on today's show...
Not that we have experience with that.
No, I've never, ever been found guilty of that. Let's continue off where Paul was what Paul was talking about.
Where Paul was on.
Where Paul was doing stuff. What do you mean you see no dildo? There's clearly a dildo in the background here.
So much for keeping it a secret.
Oh, come on. Because people in chat are already saying things about it.
No one can see chat. I have not shown chat yet. Here, what? Want to see chat?
But the people
in chat, that's all I get.
But the live chat knows.
Live chat's right there.
Okay, all right. I don't know what I'm doing at this point.
It's like,
that's just it felt like a good way to open up the show. You know?
It's open.
I'm never gonna be able to top that.
That's
unfortunately.
We've hit the peak of our careers.
Yes, we have. It's all downhill from here. Somehow.
Have a drink.
All right. So, I guess I'm just going to quickly recap on what's been happening in the E3 scope of things with new consoles. Paul was talking about this on his half of the show with the Xbox Scorpio.
No, it'd be the E3.
It's kind of an interesting predicament that the console...
That's if you're going to do... If you're in a gang, and E3, that's E3 right there.
E3?
Yep.
Or people might be like, ew. It could also look like ew.
It could also be
quite easily.
The ew game.
Yeah.
That's potentially... Yes.
Yeah, there's
a
couple ways it can go. All right. Consoles. Let's talk about consoles.
Yes.
Microsoft was announcing their Xbox Scorpio, which is a...
Are we going into news?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's how we always do it.
Usually we talk about our stores at the beginning of the show, but that's okay.
We should probably give a plug.
To.
Let's give a quick plug. No. You're right. You're
nobody
right.
Wants to buy
You're right.
anything.
Let's tell them to buy shit.
All right.
Guys, buy some shit. My store is awesomesaucenetwork.com/store. You can buy shirts there. They're good shirts.
Stay positive.
They're funny shirts, and they're good quality shirts.
They're good quality.
Paul also has a store where he has the same kinds of shirts, just different shirts.
Different designs.
Different designs, but same quality, same good prices, and he has mugs and glasses too.
Mugs and pint glasses and
hoodies.
Okay.
He just has more variety than I do.
All right, back to news.
All right, Xbox Scorpio. Why do we care? We don't really. But I have to talk about it because everyone else is. You know, it's good for hits. That's why we do this show. It's just for the views. We don't care about anything else. So, yeah, okay. This is basically just a prime example of the console market playing catch-up with the PCs, I feel.
It's got 6 teraflops, though, Kyle.
It's got 6 teraflops, sure.
6 teraflops.
But we've had 6 teraflops for a while now on the PC side of things. And I don't know. I feel like this is kind of just a low blow for console gamers. Like, I would feel kind of pissed if I had invested in a $300 or $400 Xbox One only to find that I need to buy a whole new console now in order to enjoy either 4K gaming or VR. So I think I don't know. Like I was saying in the sword fight that we had in your half of the show, I hope console gamers will start to realize, like, consoles are just, like, watered down PCs, and you're better off and just building your own and saving a whole lot of money in the meantime, because the kind of argument that console gamers would have about, like, saving money might have been a bit more true back in the day, where you saw a new console release every 6 years. But now, if consoles are going to start to renew every couple of years, every 2 or 3 years, then if you're buying a new console every, mini generation, then you're going to end up spending a lot more than you would on, let's say, like an $800 to $1,000 gaming PC. And you're not going to really be able to take advantage of the eye candy and, like, the graphics and stuff like that as you would right off the bat with a gaming PC.
Are you aware that this Scorpio will have fully uncompressed pixels, though?
Fully uncompressed, eh?
Fully uncompressed, and the highest quality pixels that anyone has ever seen.
Maybe highest quality from, like, the console side of things, but I think that's just a bunch of marketing BS.
That is absolutely marketing BS.
Yeah.
Why is it marketing BS?
Because we already have, like, HDR that's being pushed with...
Because a pixel is a pixel.
Well, yes, unless they're talking about something like HDR, where technically it's not just the resolution, but...
with something like HDR, you can have a much wider dynamic range, which means that the pixel could be different colors, but it is still a single pixel.
Oh, yes.
So
based on their definition of quality.
That is why this is marketing BS, because a pixel is a pixel. It is a single point. Granted,
just a little square.
There's more or less of them depending on your resolution and that kind of thing, but it's a single point that is a single color for any given moment.
Right.
And did they talk about HDR? You know more about this
no,
than I did.
No, they did not.
They didn't talk about
there
HDR.
Was no mention of that. So I'm guessing that that's not going to be supported. They're not going to have HDR gaming.
So if it is... If there's... sorry, I just wanted to point out how much marketing BS that was.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that also brings up a good point. Like, what happens if HDR explodes on the same scale, to the same level as 4K and VR? Are they going to have, like, an Xbox Scorpio HDR version? Where they, like, release a whole new console? That's just... Be like now you have HDR.
Like, be like an add-on module or something.
No, that would be a PC. I mean, a PC would be like, you can swap out the video card for one that supports HDR, and that's awesome.
No, but it's a module. It'd be an add-on. It'd be a self-contained module.
Console gamers would be so lucky if there was anything modular about...
There'd be a proprietary connector for the add-on HDR module.
Even that would be like a huge step up from what the current existing, like, model is with consoles right now. So anyway, it's just funny that consoles are now starting to see, like, that they're being left in the dust when it comes to things like VR and 4K, and they're actually having to push out newer consoles sooner than what was originally the kind of time period of when new consoles would launch, which was about 6 to 7 years. And I think it's been like 3 years since the Xbox One or PS4 came out.
Yeah.
More or less. So that's almost like half the time than we would expect. Simply because these new technologies are just demanding a lot more horsepower than what these consoles are capable of. And I believe the Xbox One at least launched for $300 or $400 when it first came out. You can obviously expect a higher MSRP with the Xbox Scorpio. So now you're looking at maybe a $400 and a $500 or $600 console. You're looking at potentially over $1,000 that you've spent.
So this is what I wasn't sure about, right? Because they continually are trying to pitch these as devices that are supplemental to the console that you might already have. So is the Scorpio, or will the Scorpio be a standalone device that you buy and play games on, or is the Scorpio like an extra box that sits next to your Xbox One that has like an external GPU or some other, it's got some type of connection to your main device or something still?
From what I was reading about it, it doesn't seem like it's an external GPU. However, they're not trying to make it compete with the Xbox One in terms of game releases, because any game title that's released for Xbox One is going to be compatible with the Xbox Scorpio as well. So there's going to be cross-compatibility with the games, as well as backwards compatibility. So you're not going to need an Xbox Scorpio to play any kind of Xbox One game in the future. All games are going to be compatible with both. However, if you want that, that higher resolution or that higher frame rate in game, then you're going to have to opt
or like VR capabilities.
or VR capability. Then you're going to have to get the newer version, the newer console.
So they are guaranteeing backwards compatibility with the consoles that have launched in the last 3 years.
Yes.
So,
right.
That homogenizes it a little bit. I mean, I keep,
but it's still.
But yeah.
It's still silly to me that you would have two gaming consoles that would essentially do the same thing, except one just does a little bit more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it would almost make sense if the Xbox Scorpio had exclusive game titles or whatever, because that would kind of justify the price a bit more. Whereas I feel like if they're selling it for, for example, $400, $500, $600, it doesn't really save you that much more money than, say, a gaming PC would for that could handle 4K and VR. You could build a 4K, and VR capable PC these days for $700 if you wanted to. You could.
You'd be cutting a lot of corners.
You'd be cutting a lot of corners, but you could do it. I've done the parts list for them in the past, and it is possible. You could meet all those minimum required specs.
Well, if the 480 comes out and it's $200 and it's a $200 VR capable card, then that certainly improves the proposition of building a VR ready PC for a much more reasonable price.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be at the end of this month, whereas Scorpio is what, Q4 2017, right?
Is it Q4?
September release?
Yeah, okay.
That's for the Neo.
That's for the Neo.
2017 release. I think it's at least second half, if not fourth quarter, 2017. So, yeah. That also makes a 6 teraflop, as far as raw GPU compute power number, a little bit less impressive, because whereas that is a relatively impressive number right now for a console, like Kyle already said, it's outpaced by, especially the newest generation of graphics cards. It's going to be further outpaced, once AMD has their new lineup in place. So, yeah, I mean, all things being equal, and trying to take a stance that's as neutral as possible when it comes to the console versus PC type of thing, I would say in this case, it's comforting to know that the advances made on the PC side in the past, particularly in the past year or so, the launches of the VR headsets, the capabilities that PCs have had when it comes to just higher performance in gaming and in VR, has definitely been a push towards the console makers to keep up with that performance, and to be able to say, like, I mean, you can have really badass games on the console side, but you're eventually going to get to the point where, like, oh, what about VR?
Yeah.
And if they can't handle VR, then there's a bunch of people who are going to be like, well, I kind of see VR as the next thing, or I tried VR out at this event and I really want to, buy one of the HMDs myself or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's going to become more and more of a concern. So
this is also interesting. Like, it's kind of interesting because when we were talking about this in your half of the show, it was kind of a discussion of the whole console business model, about how they would release every six or 7 years, and now we're starting to see them release every 3 years. And I guess that was like the point of the article was like, this is now the trend that we can expect to see from console makers. Mm-hmm. However, I don't know if that's necessarily the case, because I feel like that could be attributed to just the arrival of VR, and how this is a really groundbreaking, revolutionary technology that does. But something like VR doesn't come around that often, right? It doesn't come around every 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So is that necessarily true? Are we going to start to see a new console generation every 3 or 4 years now, or is this really just a one-off because VR kind of just slapped everyone in the face and no one was really ready for it? It'll be interesting to see if this is kind of a long-lasting business model, or if it's just kind of a trend right now, and gonna going to return to normalcy afterwards. But it's interesting nonetheless.
Perhaps we could elaborate on that by talking a little bit about the competition.
Yes, we could. Of course we could. So the PlayStation 4.5.
What a brilliant segue.
Yes, absolutely. That was good. That was good. Good time management, Paul.
Yes.
As well, keeping us on track.
Trying my best.
The PlayStation 4.5 Neo was also announced. However, it wasn't really showcased at E3. I feel like Sony might be a little bit intimidated by the Xbox Scorpio's claims of 6 teraflops they might not have had.
Really? Intimidated?
Yeah, a little
Look
bit.
at their market share. What do they care?
But it doesn't matter about the market share at an event like this. It matters just like what numbers people are writing in their articles.
Matters who's got the newest and freshest technology.
Exactly.
Okay.
So who knows why Sony didn't really go through with announcing or like actually showcasing the PlayStation 4.5 Neo at E3. However, you can expect the same kind of 8-core CPU, improved GPU and memory as we're seeing with the Scorpio from Xbox. Again, this is going to be targeted at 4K in VR. The PlayStation VR was notably producing an awful experience on the PlayStation 4 when it first came out, when it was first in prototype development. That's because the PS4, like we were saying, just simply couldn't handle VR.
You gotta have high frame rates.
You gotta have high frame rates. It couldn't push 90 FPS on both lenses or whatever it was.
You have to independently render each eye.
Exactly. So, so that's why that's why this new console, the Neo, exists, is because the PlayStation 4 wasn't ready for the other technology, VR, that was about to blow up and shake the industry or whatever. So. This is also very similar to the Scorpio in terms of cross compatibility with games. So starting October of this year, every PlayStation 4 game is going to come with a base mode and a Neo mode. So depending on the console you have, whether it's a PlayStation 4 or 4.5 Neo, you'll be able to play that game at whatever resolution, at whatever frame rate, whether it be 1080 at 30 FPS or 4K at 30 FPS. Or 1080 at 60 FPS, whatever it is. These games will be able to come and be supported for either console, which is kind of interesting. I mean, with a PC gamer, you simply just buy one game that doesn't come with any kind of multiple modes, and you can just adjust the in-game quality settings based on the hardware in your rig. So I guess that's kind of Sony's solution to that. You just have these different modes. You have like basic bitch mode and you have Neo mode. September release. This is going to be coming out a lot sooner than the Xbox Scorpio as well.
They've been talking about it for longer.
And they have been. So you can see it sometime this year. In a few months, actually. Coming up pretty soon. September. But in the end, who cares? For consoles.
But who actually cares?
But who actually cares? Let's talk about something that's a little bit more interesting, but still doesn't really affect us that much. Microsoft has announced their Xbox Play Anywhere program. Did you hear about this? Again, with the horrendous pour.
What are you talking about? That is a good pour.
I know. Okay, we'll wait for it to. We'll wait for the suds to catch up.
It's got a CO2 cartridge. It is pressurized, and that's a good pour because
I don't know, man.
Because look, it
all
all
fit. Sketchy.
It all fit.
A little sketchy. Oh boy.
That's all that matters. Okay.
Okay. All right. So the Play Anywhere program's pretty cool. It was announced at E3, of course. So basically, PC and Xbox One games are going to be compatible on both platforms.
Okay.
With cross saves. So whatever you save on one platform will be, stored to the cloud and can be automatically cloud saved. So that if you were playing, let's say, Halo 5 or whatever on PC, and you beat the game, then you could hop onto your Xbox One and have a fully, 100% completed copy of Halo 5 on your Xbox One.
What?
You look like albino Hitler.
It's a creamy pub ale.
Yep.
Supposed to give you a little bit of a
poor people.
Alright.
Okay. So what's cool? What else is cool about this program is that it allows cross play between Xbox One players and PC players. So if I was like a pleb on Xbox One and you were on PC, we could both like co-op Gears of War 4 together. However, you're not going to be able to play anything competitively because there's balancing issues, right? Players with a keyboard and a mouse are just going to demolish the Xbox Oneers.
Are you at all familiar with the Xbox One S?
Yes?
You are?
Yeah?
Sasquatch Gaming is calling us out in chat and saying that releases in August.
Okay.
And we shouldn't forget about it.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, the Xbox One S.
And apparently Cell tried calling you. Why don't you answer your damn phone?
Because my phone is not on me. I don't even know where my phone is.
Because phone's not even on him. So
What
do you want?
the hell's he calling me for?
Probably to tell you you're wrong about something. That's usually what people call me.
Probably, yeah.
Exactly.
Anytime anyone calls us on the show, it's like,
Yep.
no, you fucked up. Yes, he did call me. Although my battery's at 3% and probably I'm not going to make it to call anyone back at this point. What is
So
he
much
saying?
for that then.
Just tell us what you want in chat.
Just that there's an Xbox One S. I don't know. I'm not familiar with this.
That's the slim, right? That's the slim version of the Xbox.
I don't know. Is it also any more powerful?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
I think it's just a slimmer version that's going to be, released sooner than the Scorpio, yes. But I don't know. I don't know if it's actually more powerful. To my knowledge, it's not.
Okay.
I could be wrong, though. Guys, let me know.
All right. So
Blow up chat.
back to what you're talking about here.
Yes.
These games are going to be Universal Windows Platform games.
Yeah, UWP.
It says they'll likely only work with DirectX 12 compatible hardware.
Yep.
Um,
So you'll need at least a Pascal
includes
card or better.
What?
Well, not Pascal, but you'll need-
Maxwell's DirectX 12 compatible.
I guess might not be necessarily as.
I'm not even sure if... Anyway. Alright. Forza Horizon 3, Gears of War 4, Halo Wars 2, Recore, Scalebound, Sea of Thieves, State of Decay 2, and We Happy Few.
That's the initial lineup of games that are going to be supported by it.
Yeah.
And
so, these are the games that are on Microsoft's payroll.
Yeah.
Now, they probably are getting some help and support with the development of the game through Microsoft.
Right.
Xbox One S has HDR gaming along with the Xbox Scorpio. It will not be more powerful than the original. So the Xbox One S does have HDR gaming. That's good to know.
Oh, the Xbox One.
The Xbox One S.
S will have HDR. Okay.
HDR is pretty cool, actually, guys. And
Yeah.
it's one of those things that I
saw some cool
have been
demos.
really trying... Cell says you fucked up. Xbox One S does use HDR, and it is more powerful by a bit.
Oh,
So
okay.
perhaps slightly more powerful.
All right. Well, thank you, Sal, for correcting me. You
Yeah.
always do. I
So-
need much correction.
The way HDR has been sort of explained to me in a manner that made more sense to me was that basically when you're looking at a GPU and the processing pipeline the GPU goes through, which is like game engine to like 3D positionality of things to like taking an image of everything that is in the 3D position where it's supposed to be to applying post-processing effects like anti-aliasing and that kind of thing to the actual rasterized image that's displayed on your screen. One of the final things it does in that pipeline is it does color mapping or tone mapping, and it basically will take an image that's a certain dimension and that has a certain depth of color, and it will tone map it down to a standard definition display, which is what most of us are using right now, is standard definition displays that have a certain color range of colors they can reproduce. HDR is something that's going to be needed both on the device side as well as on the display side. So your device, whether it's a console like the new Xbox Scorpio, presumably, or whether it's a new graphics card, such as like a Pascal-based GPU or one of the new AMD GPUs, that needs to have HDR capability, and then your display or your monitor also has to have HDR capability. That will tell your graphics card or your source, hey, we don't need to map down to standard definition or standard dynamic range. We're going to map to high dynamic range. Gives you a lot more colors to work with, and then the actual image you get on the display is going to have way better like contrast ratio. It's going to have much better. It just looks way better, and like until you see a side-by-side demo, it's hard to say.
And we have seen a
exactly,
side-by-side demo
yeah.
not too long ago while we were in Asia, recently.
Yes.
And the results are pretty freaking insane. It just...
And it's,
I don't know.
And yes...
I would say it's like going from a TN to an IPS in that sort of like, wow, kind of like
I think
that gap.
I think even more than
Even
that.
more so, yeah.
Like, yeah. But, and also, yes, it's going to make you want to buy a new monitor again.
And you're going to have to if you want to, yeah.
I'm sorry. There's no way around that. But yeah, I mean, that's
price you pay for
that's
best
one of the
of the
things that
best.
like Scott Wasson would always talk about is like, not more pixels, better pixels. Better pixels is HDR.
Yeah.
And so that is also actually, I guess, from my talking shit on their
there you go.
on their marketing stuff earlier.
That's actually what they were talking about.
If they are specifically talking about HDR, then I have to take all that back. Because yes, that would be better pixels.
And I would assume if the Xbox One S has HDR, the Scorpio has to have it too, right? Because that's the one that's geared for the higher end experience of like VR and 4K and shit. So,
which would also
that makes sense.
Lend credence to the possibility that whatever these new consoles are integrating as far as the graphics go, since all of the current consoles are based on AMD hardware,
Are going to be
that they're perhaps integrating
HDR?
hardware based on the new Polaris architecture,
Yeah.
which would give them better efficiency and better default compatibility with stuff like display standards that support HDR.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need like HDMI 2.0B or DisplayPort 1.3 or 1.4. I forget which one of those actually handles each different one, but yes.
Yep. All right. Glad we cleared all that up.
I hope all that helped some people.
I'm sure it did not.
I don't know. Maybe not.
That's okay. All right. Let's move on to our next story, which is about Intel and their new fancy SSDs, which are called now Optane. Optane, which was previously known as 3D Crosspoint.
So you're driving a luxury vehicle there, you're going to need a high-octane fuel.
No, that's Octane, Paul.
that's
That's a
Octane.
different
I'm
thing.
sorry.
This is totally different.
Sorry.
Octane, no. Yeah.
All right.
The C and the P.
Optane.
Optane. So the roadmap has been leaked for the kind of the plans on rolling out this new technology from Intel and Micron. This is kind of a co-collaboration between the two companies who are stating that this is going to be like it's the first new memory category in 25 years. In addition to that, it's going to be 1,000 times faster than the NAND that we know right now.
That's a lot faster.
It's a lot faster, with 1,000 times the endurance. So we're talking like right now we're getting hardly 100,000 erase write cycles. So if you're talking 10 times the amount, you're talking 1 million erase write cycles, which essentially means
Program erase.
your SSD will last forever with Optane. There's some really promising and really crazy bold allegations here, but that's exciting for us. And what we're seeing right now is some leaked slides from benchlife.info.
Okay.
That's a Taiwanese website. And they've released basically these slides that say by end of this year, we're going to be seeing Optane SSDs litter the market. This, of course, will be alongside Kaby Lake CPUs from Intel, and the Optane will probably hit several SSD lines, starting with Mansion Beach. So instead of lakes, like lately, for the last few generations, Intel's been going with lakes for their CPUs. Apparently, we're going beaches with the SSDs.
That's good.
With Optane. It's very relaxing.
What's better than a lake?
As a beach.
I was going to say an ocean. But
more relaxing than an ocean is a beach.
Life's a beach.
Life's a peach. Son of the Beach. Remember that show?
I could eat a peach for hours.
No, beach.
What?
Beach, Paul. The
Beach.
jet lag is... The jet lag is real.
Blame it on the jet lag.
Yep.
Right.
So we've got
Mansion
Beach, as I was saying, which is going to be the first generation to roll out. NVMe PCIe Gen 3x4 with 4 I/O lanes. Direct motherboard integration, so kind of similar to how we see M.2. It's going to be completely integrated into the motherboard. Then we have Stony Beach, which sounds very rad. Enterprise class. It's going to be enterprise class, also PCIe, NVMe, targeted for server accelerator technology. Unless you're building a server, probably not going to be too interested in the Stony Beach. What are you thinking? What kind of
I'm reading.
pun are you considering right now?
I'm reading too much chat.
Oh.
Probably right now.
Oh, about the dildo.
Either people are super pissed that we're not talking about the 480 yet, or
there's a dildo
or
in the
people
background.
are just realizing there's a dildo attached to the monitor.
Yes, guys, we were hoping you wouldn't notice, but this show has come a long way since 3 weeks ago when we last hosted it.
Yeah.
This is...
All right. No,
it's
it's
probably,
good. It's good. Everything's fine.
Hold on.
Everything's fine. What are you doing? Why? That's not helping anyone right now.
It's a 6-incher.
It's a 6-inch.
It's a 6-incher.
6-inch dildo.
So, about half what I'm used to. But, yeah, not bad. Not bad. All right. Optane. That's what we were talking about, right?
I think so.
Again, some more fun facts about Optane. More than 10 times the density of current NAND, and will allow SSDs to store more than 1 terabyte of storage in an M.2 drive. So just M.2 is like 1.5 millimeters thick. You'll be able to store 1.5 or at least 1 terabyte of data on there. I would assume by the end of next year you could probably fit 2 terabytes on there. That's very exciting. So keep an eye out for Optane SSDs towards the end of this year. That came quick. I remember when you first started talking about Crosspoint on Awesome Hardware, and I was like, that sounds like so far away based on like the kind of numbers that they're putting out. I feel like, oh, it's not going to come out for like 2 or 3 years, and it's already here. In a few months, we're going to start seeing this technology 1,000 times faster than NAND. And theoretically, right?
It's the type of thing that makes a lot of sense. So, like, if I had to take Optane SSDs and then technology, the 3D Crosspoint technology they're based on, and sort of put it in, like, the most basic terms possible.
Yeah.
Is you're getting an SSD with performance that's much, much closer to the performance of your DRAM than it is to current generation solid-state drives.
Yeah. And that's one of the benefits, is that they're actually yielding... The yields that they're finding on this shit is actually cheaper than it is to manufacture DRAM, but the performance...
We have Twitch... There's somebody from Twitch staff is watching our show right now.
Oh no!
That's not
Have we been flagged?
Take the dildo down. No, never mind.
It's kind of funny right now because I'm actually holding the dildo right where my penis would be. Hashtag there is no dildo. Who would have ever thought that hashtag would surface its way onto our channel?
Let me just grab that for you, Kyle. No, I'm just...
I just hope whoever's working at Twitch right now.
No, that's fine. They're used to this sort of thing. Just a little, just peeks up right over the top. Just real quickly.
Just the tip.
All right, it's fine. It's fine.
Just the tip.
We're within the legal standards as we're set up and established by Twitch.
Don't look at the stream. It just makes it worse. I don't know.
Why?
Okay, back on the monitor.
You've handled that much more than I have at this point, Kyle. All right. Don't point it at your face. That's the advice from chat.
There we go. All right. Good old Optane. Woo! All right, let's move on to RX 400 series benchmarks, possibly.
Oh, that's what everyone has been waiting for.
What? Holy smokes.
This is from videocards.com.
Yes, thank you, videocards.com. The RX 480. Let's just get right into it, y'all. 3D Mark Firestrike Extreme Performance between essentially you have the RX 480 performing between the R9 390X and the GTX 980. For $200 MSRP, assuming that that's going to be legit and that they're not going to inflate that as soon as the card launches on the 29th of this month, that's awesome. That's actually really, really good. Now keep in mind that the 480 that they tested here, which got a score of 5,708 in Firestrike.
I've been poking at that with my mouse.
And I'm sorry, I said Firestrike Extreme. It actually looks like it's just Firestrike.
This is just standard Firestrike.
So standard Firestrike.
Standard Firestrike.
So this was the
Ultra scores in there too.
Ultra scores in there. This was the 8GB model, which is slightly faster than the 4GB model, the 4GB reference model. And this is a factory overclocked card. However, When they ran the tests in Firestrike, they actually dialed it back to reference speeds.
Reference.
Bleh. So so take that for what you will.
It's only running at the reference.
That's so perfect.
Yes, perfect.
So that's exciting. I mean, let's hope. Let's just hope that we can buy this card for $200. I'm in if that's the case. The RX 470 was also benchmarked in 3D Mark 11. All right, it got a score of 13,368 and 16,164 when it was overclocked, which is an insane overclock.
What am I looking at? What?
I think if you scroll down, probably those slides down there.
470 versus 480.
Probably one of those, perhaps. The 3D Mark 11 performance. So 16,000 overclocked performance in 3D Mark 11 from the 470 from the RX 470. The overclock performance here, according to the article, perhaps you are. It's one of those slides.
16,000.
Yeah.
Versus
16,000.
18,000.
Versus 18,000.
Okay.
And that was with the two of them in SLI? Or no?
No, this is just generic VGA 2X
on. Oh, MSAA, perhaps.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Why is the 480 being tested on a 4770 and the 470 is being tested with a 6600K?
Wait.
I'm not trying.
Wait, what's being tested on the 4770?
I'm not trying to at all, cast any doubt upon these clearly legitimate numbers
they're 100%
we're seeing
legit.
from videocards.com.
There's no way in hell they can be any bit wrong.
I'm just saying, according to these numbers, not everything was tested. See, like here, this is a 3D Mark 11 performance, P marks, 12,000. I don't know what this is testing.
Yeah, it doesn't even say what
but
video
card. But then we go to P marks, right?
You also don't know what video card they're testing here.
Well, this, according to what you were saying, the 16,000 number is the 470 and the 18,000 number is the 480. But the 480, according to this, was tested with the 4770 GPU versus the 470 with the 6600K GPU, which
that's
probably wouldn't make a huge amount of difference. But oh wait, no, it's down here. Yeah, 470 and 480.
Okay.
That's the driver name.
That's also weird because I have a different number for the 470 numbers for the 470 results.
Okay.
Just off by slightly. Like I have 16,164. And that, what you were showing, is 16,221.
You're right.
So that's also...
These numbers are all messed up.
Poppycock.
It's poppycock.
But if we're just going off of what the article is saying, if this is true...
Yeah, don't look at their screenshots. Just read.
Don't look at the actual screenshots.
Just read what the article says.
They could be totally fake, but
He's
the words
about
that they're
average
writing...
score. An average score.
Okay. All right. Perhaps we could see the RX 470 surpassing the R9 390 performance for just $149. What does an R9 390 go for right now? Like 300? Around 3? Probably the cheapest one you can get is like 300, 320.
For an R9 390?
Yeah. But you could potentially get that same amount of performance for $149 with a 150 watt TDP.
R9 390 you can get for $260 right now.
$260. Okay. Well, my butt.
At least this one.
Well, fuck my anus. Cool. All right. 260. Sure. That's still a sizable savings, going from 150 to 260. That's over $100 cheaper.
Or $290 on Newegg.
Okay.
So that's more legit.
So yeah, I mean, potentially half the cost, assuming MSRP is the right price and stuff.
Okay.
But that could potentially be exciting. Again, it's videocards.com. They have leaked benchmarks for everything. I would love to see an article that says how many of videocards.com's prematurely released articles are actually
That'd be interesting.
accurate.
Check that out.
So we could actually see, like, okay, this is a valid, this could be real.
I mean, if the 480 is right up in the range with the 980, I think that's a I think that's good.
Yeah.
I think that's really good.
Yeah.
Especially if the power, especially if the power draw is down.
Yep.
If they can hit both of those at the same time, and add in a decent overclocking card as well, that'd be awesome. I'd be very excited.
Because it saves you money on your power supply too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care about it wrecking up my electricity bill because it's not going to make too much of a difference in the long run. But if I can save some money on a power supply for a low TDP card, I'm all for it. Cool with that.
All right.
All right, let's move on to the games report. There was a lot of games to be seen and enjoyed at E3 yesterday. There's arguably even more games that were announced and revealed today. However, I didn't get around to covering those because I had to, draft this up in the morning and shit hadn't happened yet. So, you're getting yesterday's news today. It's all
back
good.
off, all right?
So back the F off, Cell. I don't want to see me. I don't want to see you hitting to my cell phone. Cell. The cell phone caller. I don't know where I'm going with this. But, yeah. We're going to be talking about video games. E3 shit. Starting with Ubisoft. Ubisoft had a press conference about their games and stuff, and a couple of them were pretty cool. I'll be honest, I was impressed by a few of them. Steep was the first one. Kind of a snowboarding type of game. Extreme sports on a mountain, on a big snowy mountain.
Could this finally be the follow-up, the answer to the snowboarding
1080?
video game world has been waiting for, to SSX Tricky?
I never played SSX Tricky.
This video is not available.
Try the one below it.
Don't you love that?
You had a giant, you had a huge lead up.
Taken down. All right, here we go.
Look, there's snow on the Ubisoft logo.
I'm looking for the SSX Tricky replacement here. All right, so obviously we're parachuting in here.
Yep.
Got to drop in so you get the fresh powder.
So you can drop in at multiple spots on any particular mountain that you choose, and so you can have like a different run or whatever. And what this game really stresses above all else, which I found really interesting for a snowboarding game, was multiplayer. I mean, very much reminds me of like Grand Theft Auto 5.
Okay.
Like if there was a snowboarding option in Grand Theft Auto 5, like one of the missions, like one of the jobs that you could do, this seems like that would be it. This just seems like a snowboarding.
That looks scary as hell.
Scary?
Like, yeah.
It does look scary.
From a video game perspective, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
From a legitimate, oh my god, he's landing right on top
landing
of
on the rock.
That is.
So yeah, you can do things like that here.
From a legitimate like snowboarding perspective, that's so freaking scary.
And some people do this shit. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So there's another guy. You can see there's another guy, multiplayer dude, that's standing on that other peak right there.
Okay.
And apparently, I thought this was just snowboarding, but according to this video, you can actually do things like put on a squirrel suit, and you can like fly down the mountain.
Oh, cool.
In your squirrel suit, and have races that way with other players or friends or people in the community.
There's more than one way to get down the mountain.
Yes, there is, and it's pretty cool. So here's an example of like the different points that you can drop into with your parachute. So you can land on any of those peaks and then enjoy your way down in multiple ways, whether it be a squirrel suit or a snowboard. I'm sure there's other ways you could probably do it. I'm not sure, but it looks really nice.
Like, wait, there were options there.
Options.
What's you got? Hold on. We're gonna pause it. We're gonna take some in-depth look at the options. Never mind.
Boom. No, you missed it.
I didn't jump back far enough.
But the squirrel suit is fascinating enough.
The squirrel suit looks pretty fun.
It does. I could see this being a lot of fun with a crew or like a team of friends or whatever that you link up with. I don't know. It just seems like anything that you could do in real life that's fun with friends, like actual snowboarding in real life, would be fun in multiplayer video game world.
So people do this IRL?
Maybe not the squirrel thing. I think maybe snowboarding is a bit more relatable. I'm sure some, like 0.001% of people might do this with their buddies.
I kind of want to try it.
Going squirrel suit flying.
It looks like,
down a mountain.
It looks like you haven't really lived until you've tried this.
Yeah, it's kind of like riding a motorcycle.
At least that's what people who have tried this would tell other people. You haven't lived until you've tried this.
Yeah, just to make just invalidate all of our existence.
Look, you got a new personal record.
So that's deep. Anyway, I don't have much else to say. Honestly, I'll be honest. I didn't really do much research about any of the games we're about to talk about. I was just like, oh yeah, this game was released. This game was announced.
We're gonna check them out though.
We're gonna check them out. This is all first impressions. This is like Paul and I react to shit. So For Honor was the next one in Ubisoft's E3 press conference. And this is kind of more of like, Vikings and samurais type shit, beating the shit out of each other.
He's cutting this guy's head in half.
Some medieval warfare.
Or maybe he's knighting him. I don't know.
Probably the former, not the latter.
Okay.
There should be a video down that you can play on this as well. Give some, like, gameplay. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's no gameplay on this at all. Okay.
Nope.
This article sucks. For Honor, though, looks pretty fun. It's a third person. And you can play either single-player campaign, or you can do a multiplayer bloodbath, I suppose. It looks pretty cool.
There's the mountain.
There's the mountain, if you're a Game of Thrones fan.
There's the mountain.
You're a big mother effer.
Hijacking a dude.
Taking out dudes. I don't know.
There's the mountain fighting a guy with a mustache.
Yes, many nice screenshots about the mountain.
There's the mountain cutting off a dude's head.
That looks like you.
What?
Bald dude.
Not bald, short hair. You're stupid.
I think that guy had a scar on his face, though.
That's
Saw
true.
the scar.
I don't have my scar hasn't formed yet. It's still too fresh. Okay.
Future Paul. So,
It's
yeah.
very exciting.
There's that game. New IP. Exciting. Good shit. Viking Kratos. Viking Kratos. Kratos is a God of War reference, I believe. You ever play God of War?
Yeah.
Which one?
Like the original one, I think. It was a while back.
Yeah. I only played 3. But I remember it being pretty gruesome. And I could see that kind of being like this game. A lot of bloodshed. Mass murdering. Good shit.
So it goes.
So it goes. Alright. I should mention that that's going to be released for all platforms, whether it's PC, Xbox One, PS4, on February 14th, 2017.
I'm looking forward to it.
And then we've got Ghost Recon Wildlands, which is, Ghost Recon. Tom Clancy, good old shit. Also Ubisoft. And this is going to focus mainly around the cartel. So you're going to have to take out the cartel, keep them from, carrying out all their shenanigans. There's a cinematic trailer right here.
The video is not available.
What the fuck is with all these trailers not being available?
Apparently,
They were playing fine.
apparently a lot of E3 shit. Not
Is
now.
copywritten?
Come on, Ubisoft.
Jeebus Christmas.
Hold on, we're gonna find.
Cheese and rice.
Find this out right now. Wait, what were we trying to look at? Ghost Recon Wildlands.
So, while
here
Paul's
it
figuring
is.
this out,
No, it's
sign in to confirm your age. What the fudge?
that was probably it. It was just a sign-in thing.
It's weird.
She looks excited.
No, she looks like she was paid a decent amount of money. Probably not enough for what she has to deal with. She can't
She
wait.
looks like
She can't
she
wait
looks
to get
like
home.
the host of Whose Line Is It Anyway? Aisha Tyler.
Oh, I was gonna say Drew Carey. She looks nothing like
No,
him.
Drew Carey doesn't do that anymore.
Oh.
Alright, here's Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands E3 2016 conference presentation.
So apparently you'll have free control in this game to behave or do whatever you want. I'm guessing you could, save civilians, you could kill them. Even cartel members, I'm sure that you'd be able to either, their fate is at your disposal. You can
Good.
do with them what you will. And apparently the decisions you make in-game are going to have drastic effects on the gameplay later on.
Aisha Tyler, see, I was right. Thank you, Cell and Spider. Both Cell and Spider immediately knew who Aisha Tyler was. Just saying.
Where is she from?
Whose Line Is It Anyway? Fans of the house represent.
What does she even do before that?
I don't know.
Okay.
She's a good host for Whose Line.
No, I'm sure she is. I'm just curious
Yeah.
where the hell she came from.
Okay.
It was like Drew Carey for so long, for like decades, and then it was like Aisha Tyler.
Well,
Bitch.
I used to watch the English, like the ones made in the UK.
Oh, does she do the UK one, or is she hosting the US
No,
one
she's the most recent host of the
now?
US
Of the
version.
US. Ah.
We may have gotten a little off topic.
No, not at all. Next
All
story is Aisha Tyler, new host
Who's this?
of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Wait,
Where
who-
did she
who's
come
that?
from?
Where'd she come from?
Whoa. I don't know, but she looks like she's got big ideas about what to do next
She's
in
opening
this
box
in
and
this
she's
plot.
Like, I don't believe. Well, now she's dead.
I'm gonna
Then
skull.
she's immediately dead.
That's her. She's a giant skull now.
This is a 15-minute video. I don't think we have time.
Jeebus.
I don't think we have time for this whole thing.
That's the rest of the show. Just watch this 15-minute video.
Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon. Wildlands.
Is there any gameplay in this?
This is kind of like gameplay.
No.
Look, you shot that guy and then
There's not gameplay. This is all cinematic BS.
Some of this is going to be gameplay.
No. That's what it's going to look like. Anytime
whenever you break,
you'll
and
just see
you're
that
on a
animation.
motorcycle there, you'll see that. And see, this is how you choose where to go next or something.
It's also real. No, this is a stupid video.
Well, the rest of it is a dude's walking around on stage, which is way less interesting.
Well, if you're interested in Wildlands, it'll be available come March 7th, 2017, on all platforms, mainly the PC.
That's good.
And then EA had a bunch of shit to announce at E3.
Okay.
Mass Effect Andromeda being one of them. Those who are fans of the franchise will be very interested in this particular sequel. I don't know if it's a sequel, but basically you wake up in a colony ship in the Andromeda galaxy, I would assume. And there's going to be aliens. And you'll have to kill those aliens probably, or deal with them somehow. It's going to be a pain in the ass, but you'll be happy to do it because that's your job.
It's your fucking job.
It's your fucking job, so you do it, and you're going to be embarking on a bigger adventure beyond that even. With more freedom than ever in BioWare games. So they're saying you're going to have more freedom than ever in any BioWare game ever. I don't know. That's a pretty bold statement. How free are you really going to be able to be? I feel like this is going to be more like I don't know. There's going to be some like Elite Dangerous type of Star Citizen elements here where you're space exploring. I feel like space exploration is going to be a big thing here.
Yeah.
I think that's what they mean by more freedom than ever in BioWare games. Right after they talk about encountering new planets and species and new technologies, it seems like it's going to be very explorative. That's fun. So Q1.
I like games that involve exploration.
Yeah, I feel like I have to be in a certain mood to do the exploring thing. Sometimes I just want to jump into something and I want the game to tell me what to do, where to go. And I just want the action right up in my face, like a Doom type of experience. Other times you just want to veg out and just see what's out there, and you don't want any kind of guidelines or boundaries.
It was kind of a crazy Rancor type monster that just tore something apart.
Make it Rancor. That'd be a good shirt.
A big shirt.
Dibs. So Q1 2017. Thank you very much, Sasquatch Gaming, for the donation, by the way. What are your thoughts on Battlefield 1? Yes, Battlefield 1 is something to be addressed here as well, which is actually the next story we're talking about. The trailer? Did you see the gameplay trailer, Paul? For Battlefield 1? The gameplay trailer, not the teaser trailer. It didn't show any gameplay.
No, I was intending to, but I didn't. Here it is.
Looks pretty cool. I think it looks a lot better than Infinity Warfare, or whatever the fuck it's called, from Call of Duty. And it looks really good, and it makes me sad that I'll probably only ever benchmark it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know I'm never going to enjoy this game. I already know it. I already know, and Paul will never be able to truly enjoy this game.
I'll just benchmark it.
We'll just be benchmarking it and be like, oh, that one level looks really fun.
This one part of this one level that I've played so many times.
And I'm sure the rest of the game it's probably going to be great.
You're probably right.
Yeah. It just upsets me deeply because it does look a lot of fun. It does look like a lot of fun. Horsies. There are horsies and shit in it. I saw horses.
I like horses.
There were horses at the end of this trailer that you'll be able to ride horses probably in Battlefield 4 or in this Battlefield 1. And that's awesome. Maybe I'll just hop on for a few multiplayer games and ride the horsies.
Just for a bit of horseplay.
Look, they got a Zeppelin. Just a bit of horseplay. There you go. Good one. Yeah, they got a Zeppelin. They got Zeppelins and shit.
Zeppelin's strafing the fuck out of whatever.
Oh yeah, that Zeppelin got fucking lit. Yeah, some really nice cinematics here. The gameplay, the little bits that they were showing us, also look really promising.
Uh-oh.
Doosh. Wait for it. Wait, it's not over. It's not over.
The horses?
Horsies!
Here comes the horses!
Horsies! Horsies! So I'll be very disappointed if you cannot man a horse in Battlefield 1.
Oh, you better be able to.
Yeah. And it looked like all the Durkas were on the horsies.
The Durkas?
The Durkas.
Durka.
The Muhammad Jihads. Or whatever you want to call them. I don't know. It was EA's words, not mine, alright? They're totally bashing those guys. I've watched too much Team America in my day. Durka, Muhammad Jihad. They're on Bakalaka Street.
Hey.
Such an amazing movie.
That is, yes. Good movie.
Okay, thank you, Pop, for the donation. It was smart. BioWare put Mass Effect 4 in a new galaxy to give a separation. Let's hope they don't bring the Reapers back. That would be too cliche. Yes, I agree with you, even though I've never played Mass Effect. All my friends played Mass Effect. I was like the only one who didn't play it. I feel very bad about that, and I should be crucified for that, for not ever playing it.
It'd be a harsh punishment.
It's horrible. Did you ever play Mass Effect?
Not really.
Okay. Then I don't feel as bad.
Not to the point where I would say, yes, I've played Mass Effect.
Yeah. I've watched my friends play it for many hours. Fortunately, never got it firsthand.
Yes, indeed.
Speaking of firsthand... Whoa! It just fell off.
Pop right off.
Do you think it would actually mount to my forehead?
It did. It worked for a second.
Oh, my forehead's no longer as smooth.
God.
I'm gonna get your ear.
No. No.
Oh, it's really hanging on. It's really hanging. Oh, I can feel it sagging.
Stay away from me. That's the most terrible thing I've ever seen.
Ah!
I never want to see you as a dildoed unicorn ever again.
I can't wait to see Wifey Sauce's reaction. She just got home. She hasn't seen it yet.
She hasn't?
No, because she's been in the other room. She just got home while we were in the middle of our show. Look at that. It's a great laptop accessory. However, when you have a touch screen, it's not so much. Glad that didn't close any windows. All right.
If you guys are just joining us,
Yeah. Then don't continue
you
watching.
Should never watch this
You should
show.
probably back out right
it's
now.
A bad idea.
You look like a rhino. Thank you,
Bad
Ryan, for the
idea for
donation.
you.
Thank you, Ryan, for the donation. Appreciate it. Yes, I did look like a rhino for
Kyle's
that.
a dickhead.
Yep. Wow.
Unicorn.
I finally
dickhead.
surpassed Jay in terms of headliness.
That is, yeah, you're probably pretty accurate with that. All right.
Taking the crown, so to speak. All right, and the last thing here for from EA is Titanfall 2 that I wanted to talk about. Obviously, there's more that they discussed yesterday, but Titanfall 2
Titanfall 2.
is getting a lot of press and stuff.
Where'd that come?
I was never really good at the original Titanfall. However, there's a new feature in this game that might give pilots like myself a chance at actually demolishing some of them Titans, some of them mechs, which is the grappling hook. I don't know if you saw this trailer, Paul, but there's a new grappling hook.
I did not see this.
There's a revolutionary grappling hook that's been introduced to the gameplay in multiplayer.
I've never seen a grappling hook in a game before.
Well, it's obviously all multiplayer. But look at that. You can actually scale the level and things like that a lot easier with the grappling hook.
That's useful.
Because before you would be like a certain distance away from one of the Titans, right? And it would take you so long as a pilot, just a dude on your own 2 feet, to actually get to that Titan that they would just target you and blow you up by then.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like very unbalanced. Now you have a grappling hook, so you can like scale buildings and walls much better, or you can grapple directly onto the Titans and, you know, reach out, pull the pilot out, or like throw a bomb on them and destroy them much easier. Closes the gap a bit more. So
that makes sense.
That's fun. That's fun for all the people who like to be on foot in Titanfall, the original, which I think is probably most people like to be on foot.
Do people still play Titanfall?
I think there is still a community for it.
Okay.
It's probably no longer as large as it used to be when it first came out, obviously. But I think, you know, if you were to hop on, there'd probably be a couple servers open.
Okay.
But I think there's, you know, this could rejuvenate that whole loss in movement.
Do I have to pay $60 again to play Titanfall 2?
I would imagine so, and that would be unfortunate. Yeah.
So it takes that much money to get access to a
A grapple hook?
A hook shot.
I would assume that
The hook shot, by the way, was introduced in Zelda 2.
Yes. Was that the first ever hook shot?
No, I'm sure there's other hook shots.
Oh.
But I'm saying hook shot's been around for a while.
October 28th, 2016, so it's going to be launching this year.
Okay.
Later this year. It's exciting. I'm curious to check it out.
I'm excited if it's if it's free downloadable content. If I got to pay $60 for that again.
Well, I don't think the grappling hook is the only addition onto the entire franchise. I think you're also going to be getting, new weapons for your on-foot characters, new mechs for the Titan fans. I did see some gameplay where one of the Titans had like a crazy sword. I'm not sure if he had a sword in the original one. There was kind of a cool light up sword thing that did cool things and looked cool.
Okay.
Anyway, if you're a fan of the franchise, you might be interested in checking it out.
All right.
Grappling hooks are fun. And then third segment of today.
We're only on your third segment?
Oh, there is a single-player game to Titanfall. Okay.
VR update.
To Titanfall 2. That's also something interesting to note.
What?
Is that there will be a single-player mode for Titanfall 2.
Oh, okay.
Because I believe in the first one, it was just multiplayer.
That you can play in VR?
No, I don't believe you can play in VR.
Oh, okay.
Just regular on a monitor. Boring and old, stupid regular monitor play.
Okay.
Stupid 140 hertz 4K bullshit. Sucks.
Ever tell you about how I got my scar?
Yeah, but I'd like to hear the story again. For old time's sake.
It's alright, no, we don't have enough time.
Okay.
Alright, let's move on. VR update.
VR update. PSVR and the Aim Controller. Again, we're talking about console shit that no one cares about, but I thought it was worth mentioning because it kind of relates to the better type of VR, which is the one that's not for console and it's the one for PC, such as Vive and Rift. So, PlayStation was debuting their Aim Controller, their new Aim Controller, which was also debuting with Farpoint, a new FPS game exclusive to the PS4. Now, the Aim Controller is a standalone Move device that looks like a bicycle frame, in my opinion. I don't know if you can find a picture of the Move VR, or if there is one here. There should be another link that I put in maybe the next one, the next tab. Try that. Yeah. So if you look at that, yeah, that's the Aim Controller. Like I said, to me it looks like a bicycle frame. It just looks very basic, but no frills, whatever.
It looks like one of the first guns that you got with the original Nintendo.
Like the zapper.
Some of the light zapper guns that you had, yeah.
A little bit like a zapper. It looks very kind of modern in a way, but also looks kind of boring. I know it's not going to matter, right? When you have the headset on.
Purple pink light.
That's the motion tracker. That's for motion tracking. It's got whatever receiver in there. You've got two thumbsticks, one right there, kind of where the hammer would be of your gun, I suppose, if it was a pistol, along with your typical run-of-the-mill buttons. So you've got some integrated buttons there. You've also got a thumbstick on the front hand, where your front hand would go, and that would provide some movement, I would assume. And I'm not a huge fan of the way it looks. It looks kind of like a bike frame. Or like a paintball gun that's been unfinished.
Yeah, it looks like a homemade PVC pipe
yeah.
Gun of some kind, right?
Yeah, it kind of does. It looks very basic. I'm not sure if this is the final model or not, but the cool thing about it is that it reacts very much, like one-to-one precision. So anywhere you move the gun in real life, it's going to correlate to your VR environment and whatnot. If you wanted to look down the sights of the gun, you could do so. However, there is no shoulder mount. There's no shoulder stock like you would see with an assault rifle, for example, which I was kind of disappointed about.
That would be nice.
Because I feel like even though there's no actual recoil with the gun like you would see with a real steel firearm, it's just kind of nice to have that feel, right? To feel like you're really holding an AR-15 or whatever assault rifle that you have. And it would actually still make it a bit more accurate, I would assume, looking down the iron sights or the scope of your rifle, if you had that stock, right?
Yeah.
And it just creates a more tactical kind of vibe, in my opinion. There's also no, according to the article, there was no haptic feedback whatsoever. So even like when you're firing bullets and stuff, there's no like rumble feature even, which is very basic, and I feel like that is also something that could really, really benefit with VR, because like you and I were saying about like games like Hollow Point when you're playing with the HTC Vive, where it's just a simple archery game, pulling back the bow or an arrow. When you actually get that haptic feedback in the Vive controllers, where it kind of like makes that vibration, but it really kind of creates the feeling that you are stretching this string back and you're putting tension on it, is really satisfying. Yes. And it's very immersive. And I feel like that would do wonders here with an actual assault rifle type controller. So hopefully,
something for recoil or something like that would.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. So hopefully they can iterate on that and bring that to a final version. On the bright side, however, the guy who was reviewing this thing said there was no motion sickness when using this in the game Farpoint, which looks really cool. It's a FPS, like I said, and you can actually you use the gun, whatever direction you're pointing the gun. Or the aim controller, I should say, is the direction that your character will be moving. So you press the thumbstick forward or whatever, and you start moving in whatever direction you point the gun in. And then what's cool about that, what he mentioned, was you can actually, just based on the VR ecosystem, you can run in one direction while looking in another quite easily. Which he said was really cool. He was like running down a wide bridge or whatever, running in the direction that his aim controller was pointed, and then looking side to side to either check to see if enemies were coming, or if he just wanted to kind of appreciate the environment that he was in, which is really cool. And he said that there was no nausea. He said that the reason why there's no nausea is, one, that they keep the player movement very moderate. The guy's not like running full speed, like sprinting whenever he moves forward. It's kind of just like a natural kind of jog, I suppose. And there's also like the nature of moving in the direction that your controller is pointed, as opposed to having a thumbstick that controls rotation, like when you're looking left and right. I feel like that is probably what would cause the most nausea, is if you're looking left and right with a thumbstick in VR. Going side to side, as opposed to just naturally moving your body.
Most of the VR implementations I've seen, I feel like, going towards if you're gonna move forward, you walk forward, like that kind of thing. Or even the ones where you look forward and you teleport yourself over to where you're looking.
Yeah.
Those seem more functional to me than I don't know, controlling your movement with the joystick on a controller while you're also in VR. I mean, that seems like kind of an in-between for me right now.
Yeah.
Eventually that type of control will fall away as other more useful methods are developed, I guess.
Right. Yeah, and I think I really want to see something like this being implemented for the Rift and Vive in the future, because there is something to be said about having one controller that actually emulates a gun, as opposed to two separate ones. Because with the Vive controllers and the Oculus Touch controllers, it's like you have two pistols, right? But how would you actually use that to emulate a assault rifle where it takes both hands?
Yeah.
It wouldn't feel quite as immersive if you had if your hands were still separated. That being said, I feel like, and obviously I've never tried this out, this aim control. I don't know how it actually feels in the hand, but to me it looks a little bit on the lighter side. I don't know if it's just because it's a very minimalistic design, but I feel like
it looks pretty lightweight.
But I feel like it would have to have some heft to it, because what you're seeing in the VR environment is probably like a full metal assault rifle or shotgun, for example. And if you're feeling like what feels like a feather in your hands, then there's going to be a disconnect there. Your brain's not going to make the connection. However, there is also the issue of comfortability and endurance. If you're playing a game for 2 hours straight, you're not going to want a 25-pound controller in your hands, right? So this is my genius idea, Paul. Is how we have mice with built-in weight systems. Have a weight system for an aim controller like that, where users could swap out modular weights and make it however heavy they want. So if they want it to be more realistic, like a real steel type feel, or if they're like 12-year-old kid or whatever and just want the lightest experience possible, it can be comfortable for them in that way too. And then for the people who have the actual like maximum capacity weight system that weighs like 10, 15 pounds, you could actually also just have like a 3-point sling, right? That you could basically just rest the assault rifle or whatever, rest the controller when you're not in use.
Well, I mean, I'd like to see a solution for VR in particular, like where you can have something, like we saw the VR backpacks, like the MSI one that they had at Computex.
Yeah.
It had some holsters for the VR controllers, which are like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, just to have holsters for the controllers. But something like where you could have holsters for controllers, pull those out and have a handgun, whatever.
Yeah.
But then holster your handgun and then on a
Have the
3-point
rifle.
sling, pull out a rifle.
Exactly.
And for the VR, whether it's a Vive or the newer Rift or whatever coming out, where it recognizes, oh, that's a weapon change, or whatever going. He went from a handgun to pulling out the AR-15 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that would be pretty cool.
The more intuitive like all the controls are in VR, the more successful it's going to be. So if I have to like tell wifey sauce or whatever, okay, you need to press A to switch guns, or you need to like press the left D-pad or whatever in order to switch guns, like that's not going to be as intuitive as we'll just switch controllers.
Yeah.
Just put one controller down and grab another. The more intuitive it is, the more win it's going to be for everyone, I think. And I think that's kind of the direction that we're headed. I'm hoping that that's not an end-all solution to the PSVR controls. I hope that they integrate that as well as their PlayStation Move controllers in the same game.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be an end-all replacement. They should be using a combination of different controls to really make a more cohesive gaming experience or whatever. But that's pretty cool. I think this is the first VR controller that I've seen that utilizes both hands. At least for a modern.
That's not a set of gloves.
That's not a set of gloves. Yeah, that's at least a modern.
Yeah.
A modern device. So that's fun.
Cool. All right.
And then
Fallout 4.
Fallout 4. We'll briefly touch on these because we are running out of time.
We are.
So Fallout 4 is launching for the HTC Vive. This is also big news for VR because we're seeing a AAA title come to VR. Come 2017, we'll actually be able to play the beloved Bethesda game in virtual reality. It's going to require some changes, including a constant 90 FPS. Right now, the current 60 FPS cap is in play, so we're going to have to tweak that, as well as ways to prevent motion sickness when navigating the virtual environment. And I don't know if the Vive motion controllers will be supported in the game, but I'd have to imagine that they are, because I feel like it's not going to be. This really isn't going to be a big deal if it's just the headset tracking that you can enjoy, right? You've got to be able to like fire away with the Vive controllers, to some degree. However, that hasn't been confirmed yet, so hopefully we'll be hearing more about that in the next few months. And then let's move on to OSVR, which has taken on the Vive and Rift. If you guys think that the Vive and Rift are too expensive, it's probably because they are. They're fucking expensive right now.
$600.
Maybe the OSVR can ease your troubles. This is the HDK2, the Hacker Dev Kit is what they're calling it. It's going to go on sale in July for $399. It's quite a bit cheaper than than either of those headsets. $399 is very competitive, and it's going to be uses 2 lenses for your optics at 2160 by 1200, which is comparable to the Rift and Vive resolution. So it's not like you're getting a Gear VR or something, or you're using your cell phone. You're actually getting pretty high-powered lenses with decent resolution. OSVR, if you guys aren't familiar, is an open source VR initiative that was launched by VR company Sensix and Razer. Good old Razer. And the article kind of goes on to be like, well, I don't know how confident Razer is in this thing because we haven't seen a single Razer logo on this headset.
Oh, yeah.
But that could just be because it's in its infancy and hasn't really had a chance to prove itself. I think maybe once it gets more traction, if it does, gets more popularity, then Razer might slap some shit on it. But it looks pretty promising so far. For an entry-level kind of VR experience, I mean, hey, that resolution's pretty solid to me. I wouldn't mind checking it out. And people weren't super impressed with the HDK 1 in terms of just the aesthetics and the, I should say, the ergonomics and the comfortability. However, hopefully the HDK 2 will solve a lot of those problems. So, cool. Fun.
More VR options.
More VR options is
That's
always good. It's great for the end user. And then finally for VR update, we've got the HTC Vive. It's kind of old news. It's probably been out for 5-6 days, almost a week now. But the HTC Vive is now promising shipping in 3 business days. This makes it the only VR headset on the market right now that you can just outright buy and actually get in a reasonable time frame instead of pre-ordering. This is huge. It's the first VR headset that you can just buy and not pre-order. 100 retail locations are available throughout the US. And as I mentioned, the promise here is that Vive will be shipping these units within 2 to 3 business days. That sounds amazing for us right now. But it's only because up until this point it's kind of been like, who knows? Like, you'll get it like anywhere from 3 to 6 months from now. Which is awful, and we've kind of just gotten used to that. Like, well, if you're going to buy a VR headset, expect it to come in like half a year. And
especially
now,
for anyone who bought a Rift.
Yeah, a Rift for sure.
Back in February.
Yeah, we pre-ordered ours in January.
Yeah, like end of January, beginning of February.
And I just got mine like while we were in Computex in June,
and
which is insane.
And there's still a lot of people who ordered, like both of us ordered, I think, within the first hour or so that they went up for sale. Still a bunch of people ordered within the first week who haven't gotten theirs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for a head-mounted display solution that's both getting really good reviews overall, thanks to the full room, ability to move around and everything, and that you can actually get, that's a pretty good option. And granted, it's more expensive. It's $800.
But
closer to $9 after you factor in tax and shipping.
But you're going to be paying around that anyway if you buy some touch controllers.
That's true.
For the Vive. I'm sorry, for the Rift.
I think if Rift wants to bounce back, they're going to need to offer a very compelling, probably take a significant loss on selling their entire package with the touch controllers when like Q4 holiday time period comes up this year.
Yeah. I agree.
But
that is pretty much it for my half of the show.
Yay.
I think we can skip QA.
Yeah, we should,
because we are way overdue.
We're way over.
And honestly, the answers we would give you guys are probably nowhere near worth saying anyway.
Probably not true. They're
probably
lies.
Not true. They're all lies. They're all bullshit. But thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you happen to watch this before you watched Side A of episode 65, you can go ahead and check it out on Paul's half of the show, on Paul's channel, youtube.com/Paul's Hardware. And be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. We will not be doing an after party tonight. We've got too much shit to catch up on and do for all y'all on our respective channels for the rest of the week. So there will be no after party, but maybe next week. And we'll be even more recovered from jet lag at that point. So higher chances of shenanigans happening then. Johnson's.
Thanks, Albino Blue. Albino Blue Sheep, thank you for the donation. Might be going to PAX West. Might be going to PAX West, PAX Prime.
Oh, and also Tech Matters?
Also Tech Matters.
Thank you very much. Unicorn shirt, Kyle. Okay, I'll consider it. I will consider it very
Johnson's.
strongly.
I got one more Johnson.
Johnson's. All right.
Johnson for Christopher.
Christopher
got a Zero Insertion Force shirt. Thank you, Christopher.
I've got Clay. Thank you for the CPU cooler shirt, my brother.
Hell yeah.
I've also got Brian. Wow, holy moly, Brian. CPU cooler shirt, Stay Positive shirt, and a BIOS flasher shirt.
Hell yeah.
I'm officially out of stock on all those shirts. Thank you very much, Brian.
Nice.
You've cleared me out. And Christopher Double Johnson. Simo. Oh, this is Simo.
There we go.
Christopher. We know Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Chris.
Good old Chris.
Thank you very much, my brother, for picking up a Stay Positive shirt. I appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more tech stuff coming real soon from either of our channels, and we will be talking to you very shortly. We love y'all. Have a good one, and good night.